What do we have here? The Spydie Chef. It's a Spyderco titanium frame lock in, was it LC200N, right? Yep. I think that's a real stain resistant, corrosion resistant stainless. Yeah, I'm sure it holds an edge fairly well. I will correct that if I'm wrong right up here. But it's a real smooth knife. Kind of that glassy, Chris Reeve type smoothness. Just real smooth. Doesn't make a lot of, doesn't do a big loud clack or anything when it closes or opens. Just a nice click, and then when it closes, it's real soft sounding. What do you call that blade? Is that a sheep's foot kind of? I think maybe it is, yeah. And of course it has the legendary Spydie hole for thumb flicking, which the thumb flicking on this guy is pretty ridiculous. Just feels so smooth and like natural. Reverse flick, it's a little harder to get into, but I mean, it's really not. It's kind of fun. Definitely has that fidget factor on the reverse flick. This one was blue. I sanded it and then acid etched it to get sort of this gray, kind of like a sandblasted look. I'm going to throw them in here, see what they do, see if we get that gray coating that we're looking for. Not much happening yet. Okay, oh no, it's working. Okay. And yeah, I have my fingers in it. It's not a very strong acid. It doesn't seem to bother skin too much. A couple of little snail's trails on it already. That was just from pulling it out of the acid, and the two halves kind of banged into each other a little bit. Here we go. Take them and turn them over one time. Not sure which one I turned over, so we'll just turn them both over. Alright, then we'll let them drip out of there. And go into this. It definitely, snail trail is kind of easy. Maybe as easy as sandblasted, like the Chris Reeve style handles do. But, you know, you can always re-dip it real quick in the acid and it would probably take that off. I didn't want to keep re-dipping it though. Every time you dip it, it makes the holes inside there a little bigger. You know, I added, I put some super glue around just the very inside edges of the holes, but that seemed like it got eaten up, so it didn't last very long. I don't think it protected it as much as I was hoping it would. I say use nail polish for some etchants to keep the acid from eating the metal. Maybe that would work better. I don't know. We'll look into it and see. But everything went together fine. Nothing really had any extra play or anything. So I think having them only in there for, I don't know, probably a grand total of a minute and a half made it so that it just really surface etched it. It didn't take anything very far down. It's no bearings in this guy. It's phosphor bronze washers, one on each side, just two little washers. I mean, they're not little, they're good size. Probably a little bigger than most bearings. We got the standoffs here. Oh, the standoffs are cool because they have a D-shaped end at one end. So you have to turn them to where they go into this side. I think it's this side. And then once they go in and then you put the screw in, they're locked. They're not going to spin no matter what. Even if the screw's a little bit loose, they won't spin. So putting the other side on makes putting it all together very easy, taking it off very easy, as long as you pay attention and don't try to put the D-shaped side on the other side or something like that, then you get jacked up. Reversible pocket clip. I thought it was titanium, but it's a stainless wire clip. It has a shorter screw on this side, you know, because if the wire clip's over here, the screw's going to be taller. It's going to need to be taller. So they put a short screw this side just for a hole filler. And then the long one's on this side. This was polished. At first it was black like the other hardware. Whoa, a cup just blew by in the wind. At first it was black. Then I polished it like a chrome, finish. And then the guy who wants this knife wanted it all gray, so I grayed it up with some steel etchant. Very nice, slicey sheep's foot blade. Very tall grind all the way up to right to the spine. It's cool how they do that. They brought the grind right to the spine, but didn't really make it any narrower. So they stopped that grind just dead on with that level. Very cool how they did that. Definitely kind of an old school style knife with small pivot screws. The pivot isn't particularly small, but the screws for it, nowadays they use bigger pivot heads for whatever reason, not necessarily a have to do it thing, but they do it. Ooh, look at that, I lined up that hole with that little knot in the wood. Ooh. So I'm not sure, why they do that necessarily. You can still use small ones, they work fine. Boy, that is so smooth to deploy. I'm trying to think, do I leave it a little bit loose? No, it's actually tight. Yeah, so if you loosen it up a little, it's drop shutty and stuff, but then you'll have a little bit of play in it. Yeah, and then maybe there's a tiny bit this way. But up here, no, that's weird. Huh, okay. Little change in the geometry between open and closed, I guess. I like it. I like it a lot. It's a very nice knife. Very thin, easy to carry. Doesn't stick up like your PM2s. Really nicely done. One of my favorite Spydercos that I've ever messed with, for sure. I've never messed with a Sliz buoy or whatever that one is. That's supposed to be pretty neat too. Kind of a little more modern feel to it. But I like this guy. Not quite drop shutty, but definitely easily shake shutty. It might get drop shutty after it wears in a little bit. So, Spyderco, Spydie Chef. I think they're in the $200 range, something like that, maybe $225, maybe a little more. They might be $250. I don't know. These days, prices are all going up, so I'm not sure what these guys go for, but I think they're good to go. I would definitely not avoid the Spydie Chef. It's a nice knife. Have a nice day.